Hello, everybody, and welcome to another lesson here with the Sim tutorial guide of how to become a better racing driver. My name is SimNick, and I'm going to be your racing lesson teacher, whatever you want to call it, for this tutorial guide. We're here at Bid Ohio Circuit with, again, we are using the Cup Mazda MX-5 Miata cars, and we got some new things to teach you guys. So when it comes down to racing, as you could tell by the title of today's video, we're on lesson 2, which is throttle and steering control. So when it comes to racing, you need to have throttle control. So I think at this point in the guide, you probably have checked out the sim racing equipment, the steering wheel and pedals. If you have your steering wheel and pedals, great. If you don't, that is totally okay. You could still watch and learn. But hopefully you could get a sim wheel and pedals. That's pretty much all you need. As long as the wheel comes with paddle shifters, that's perfect. You don't need to have the fancy H shifter. All you need to start sim racing is a wheel and pedals. And you could also create your own. There are tips of how to create your own sim racing wheel. Pretty much in today's lesson is throttle input control, throttle, steering, control, input, output, the whole 9 yards, which is pretty much the same thing. So in the last lesson, we talked about curbs, straight line, speed, practice, qualifying, race, track limits, a whole cool stuff, shifting. So once you have gotten that down, then you could go into throttle control, which is pretty much how much steering you need to put into a corner and how much steering you need to put out from a corner and how much throttle from your pedal you need to push down with your leg. So pretty much once you got your shifting down, or the shifting that you would like, you could do your gears, ratios, and stuff like that. You need to know how much throttle you need to put in. There's like data analysis sheets, or like in Assetto Corsa, you could see your brake data and stuff like that. In this game, since we're using Race Room, I don't think they have it. Maybe they do, but I think it's on multiplayer. But as you could tell, we're in gear 5 and we're full throttle right now. Right now we're letting off the brake, off the gas, and hitting the brakes. As you could tell, as we go from the outside, you have the bright lights from the brake lights. As you can see, you hit the brakes, the brake lights come on. And once you get your shifting down and stuff, it should be easy. And once you get into a corner, like for example this upcoming corner, and you stay within the track limits. Once you get to a corner, like here, there are markers up on the wall that says 100, 200, 500, 300, 200, 100, 50. That is how much braking how much you need to turn into the corner. So 200 feet to turn into a corner, 50 feet you'll be exactly right on the 90-degree angle. 300, 100 turns coming up, 100 feet, you need to start braking at 300. Preferably, where I like to brake is either before the 300 or in between the 300 and the 200 marker to start braking. And then to turn into the corner, if we go inside, preferably of what choice you like, you have outside view, you'll have the extended view, you may have top side view, first person, hood cam, front bumper, and stuff like that. We're talking, so we're slightly distracted on our driving, but you'll see the markers on some corners. They don't have the markers, so you probably won't know how much, but on a sharp corner or the major corners, you'll have markers up on the top right that will be coming up. 300 feet, 200 feet, 100, turn into the corner. Sometimes you'll just let off the gas and the car will slow down automatically for you to turn into the corner. Sometimes you will need to brake depending on how sharp the corner is, depending on what track you're using and how fast you're going. As you can tell, we already know how much horsepower. It's around 200 to 100 to 300 horsepower in this Mazda Cup car. So you could just let off the gas and the car will slow down and it will be easier to think, so you don't have to shift all the time, which is very great. Sometimes if you're going way too fast into a corner, you'll have to use your engine braking, which is shifting down and then shifting back up to the gear to squeeze out all the horsepower on your car. So pretty much we're coming up down the main straight. You have 500, 400, 300, 200, 100. Downshift. Let off the brake as much as possible. Hit the gas. Brake just a little bit around the corner. I mean, this is probably not a good example, but pretty much once you got that down and you get the marker plates on the track and you're ready to engine brake, you could start using your pedal depending, and once you feel more comfortable and confident in the car, now you could go faster around the corners, and then that's where throttle, steering, and braking come into play, and that's what we're talking about in today's lesson. So pretty much as you're coming around the corner down the main straight, you'll squeeze every single bit of horsepower as much as possible. Full throttle, you'll let off the gas or downshift depending on the corner of how sharp the main straight into the first corner is. Then you'll have to downshift or brake 50 to 30% braking depending on what the second and third corners are. T3, T4, so on. They could go up to like 40 if you're doing the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. Oh my god, I just said that in one saying. The Nordschleife. Which is the Nürburgring. And I think that has like 50 turns, probably things like that. So you'll do full brake, you'll either do full braking, full throttle, full braking, or engine braking, depending on the corners. So if you brake all the way, you'll have probably a wider angle entering the corner, but you may have a bad exit. Now there's the balance between throttle, engine, and steering control. So you want to be as smooth as possible with your steering. So you don't want to be jolting all the way to the right, all the way to the left, because that's going to mess up your lap time, and that's going to mess up your race in general, and you'll be slower. Now, I think the AI car is going to be coming up behind us. Alright. But you probably get it now. So pretty much, as you're coming around the first turn, you'll have to do, you could either full send it like what we're doing right now, or engine brake, slight dab of the brakes, downshift, hit the gas, full throttle, downshift, gas it through, upshift, 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 upshift. Okay, we'll get into that. So now, once you get your throttle control and your braking from the braking boards and stuff like that, you'll get better at the qualifying. So we'll upshift here, upshift in the third, go close to the right near the boards, have a good entry point, use that red dot as your marker. Sometimes you'll go wide and you may have a bad exit, which means you may go off of the track. That's perfectly fine. Go downshift, full throttle on the gas, 100%. Upshift. Use the rev limiter key, which are those the K1 lights, which is the Kirk system, which tells you, oh, I need to shift to this gear. You'll brake in some cases probably all the way, and you'll probably have to downshift as much as possible. Then upshift, gas it all the way, upshift again, downshift slightly, still foot on the floor, upshift, possibly downshift, and a little dab of the brakes to help you reduce your speed through the corner. You'll get close to each of the curbs. Don't go off because you know the track limits. You'll get a penalty, or slow down penalty, or even worse, a drive-through penalty, or even worse, a penalty in general, which that is not good. Now, once you have the marker and you know where the curbs and the track limits are, you have completed your first round of qualifying, pretty much. Now, the race is a race. It's not, what we're doing here is not a competitive race. It's here to teach how you could do it, how you could race. So pretty much you could stand at a standstill or rev with the gas to have a better acceleration. Right now, we may actually win here. So you want to upshift through the gears. Go close to the curb. He's going to be forcing you to the outside, which that's okay. You'll have to downshift or brake to let him pass. But he'll have a bad entry or exit point, which you'll have your track time erased. So now you want to upshift 100%, gas 100% through the track. Right now we're in first place. Don't know how we're doing it, but if you get around your first competitor, then you got a little dab of the brakes, probably around 15% to 20% of the brakes, possibly 30 depending on how fast you're going and what car you're using. And then downshift, and then upshift, downshift again. Go over the hills, upshift, downshift, know the track limits. Find a clean racing line here. And then use the brake boards to let you know, oh, the turn is coming up in 100 feet, 50 feet. Oh, it's happening right now. The breaker boards are there to help you know, oh, I need to start braking now, so I could be prepared to enter that corner. Now, we don't have the fastest lap, which is okay. You don't need the fastest lap. You don't need to worry about the times. Use the breaker board 100 feet. Turn in to the corner. Use that marker to turn in close to the boards or the little white and curbs area. Enter the corner. He's gaining on us. Gaining is bump drafting. We'll get into all of that as well. Fully on the brakes. 500 feet. Brake at 200. Downshift to second gear. Hit the gas. Turn into the corner. That's going to be a bad or possibly a good entrance and exit to the next corner. Use that marker to go to the next one, like that. Pretty much, you want to be as straight as possible, and these curbs are helpful. They're there to help you, not to despise or discourage you. You want to be as straight as possible. Use the breaker boards. Oh, the turns coming up like that. Go a little bit wide, not too wide. Dab of the brakes. Turn in 15%. Look at that. Oh no, he got the fastest lap. He's gaining on us. What do we do? Just keep your cool. If he passes, he passes. And then defending is another thing. So once you get comfortable with... Actually, that's going to be a whole different thing. All you need to pretty much do is learn on throttle control around the track as much as possible. Get used to the steering. You could go full 90 degrees as much as possible. Where is he? He's gaining. On us. Full send. Brake at 300. Brake early, because he's going to brake later. And that will give you a nice thing. Oh no, you went off. You had to exit. Perfectly fine. If you get back on track, that's perfectly fine. If he passes you, perfectly fine. If you get stuck on a wall, you can reverse or reset the race and do it all over again. But the main key is throttle and input control. Use the boards on the top right hand corner of your screen. Not the top right, but the middle on the track side. There will be on the top mid portion of the screen, either mid, right, or left. So there are a few boards on our right. There's going to be boards right here on our left, as you can see, 300, 200, 100. There he goes. And if you rear end the person, that's perfectly fine. Crashing is totally allowed. I recommend, if you're starting sim racing, have cosmetic damage off. Completely off, so you don't wreck yourself out. And all this stuff, so you could practice your skills and build up confidence. There's boards on either side of the screen to let you know where to turn in. Downshift or brake as much as possible. I want to have that straight line speed as much as possible. You may think, oh, if I'm going wide to the right and there's no of the curbs, what do I do? Well, you just imagine that there's another curb, like the red or the yellow, or depending on what track you're on. Just imagine that there is another strip right there and use that as your curb place. So like right now there's not going to be a curb. Just imagine that there is, because then there's going to be a curb right here, which is going to be easy to move into, and you'll probably be ahead of one of your rivals. And there are the boards right there, 300, 200, 100. Turn into the corner coming up. Use that as a reference point. Use the 100 board to turn into the corner mid 100 to 200 feet to turn into the corner. Downshift, a little bit of gas, upshift, brake, downshift, upshift. Well, bad example because he passed us, but as long as you're clean with your racing and you know how much throttle you need to put into the car and how much braking, how much steering, you'll gain on your competitor like this through the inside, and that's called an overtake, which is very, very good in racing because that means you have gained a position. Like for example, we were in second place, now we're in first. And if he's on your rear end like this, trying to pass you, that's called battling it out. And if he's far away or he's right on your rear, that is called a draft. And we'll get into all of the drafting, battling it out, defending scenario. That's probably going to be the next lesson. But once you get comfortable with the car that you're using and your throttle input, you'll probably be in a good place to start. Right now, we only have one person, so right now we're in first place, which is good. In the last episode, so that means we're getting better if we're in first. If you have a bunch of people, we'll get to. You'll add more people to build up your confidence, boosting, and stuff like that. And what this massive space is called the gap between you and the other driver. As you could tell by the top of the screen, you'll have your position, your name, and your lap time. That's that 55. 55 seconds. 1 minute and 4 seconds right there, right now. Right next to us is the second driver behind us, their place number, and the gap time. So that plus is how much space we have gained between us and the driver, and how much he needs to catch up. So he needs to catch up 1.7 seconds in order to pass me and win. Right now we have gained 1.4 seconds. And if we're behind, that's negative. And then once you got all that control, you finish, and you'll finish your race. And as you can see, we finally have sector numbers. In the last episode, we didn't have that because we were over the track limits, and that shuts the sectors down. So as you can see, we were quicker than second place in qualifying between each sector. So we got 46-second time in sector 1. Sector 2, we got a 40. He got a 41. 1 second faster than second place. Sector 3, 24, and we got the best time, 1.5, 155, and we got 25 points. They got 18. We completed 7 of 7 laps because we finished ahead. And finishing time is 11 minutes and 43 seconds right there. And yeah, once you build up that throttle control, the input control, you know how much steering you need to put into the car and stuff like that, you are all set to pretty much start your first competition race and start doing stuff. That's all that I'm going to say for all you guys watching. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. Do appreciate it. If you guys do like the series so far that we're doing, make sure to subscribe, turn notifications on so you guys won't miss out on any upcoming content like this of how to become a faster and better sim racer. And no, catch you guys in the next lesson. Take care, stay safe, and keep on racing. Class dismissed.